The power of subtle thought when focused through the converging point of mutual agreement by a group purposefully representing a whole for the highest and best good of that whole is quite beyond the ability of the limited third-dimensional mind to comprehend. There is now documented evidence of the power of prayer in the recovery from illness when it is focused by the doctors, nurses, friends, and families for the good of the patient. The dynamic potential that is tapped is the agreement held within the focusing group's desire to bring forth the highest and best good for the person. The desire is usually limited to the person returning to an apparently healthy state. However, that is not always the true highest and best good for that person, since the purpose of the lifetime is usually unknown to the person and to those attending them, so it is best to leave the focus open. Further, the person themselves may have already placed their decision as to their future into the flow of creation. Again, this brings us back to the concept of thought thinking, the flow of creative energy that focuses each individual into manifestation to begin with and then maintains them in focus is intelligent thought thinking, and is totally aware of what the highest and best good is in every instance when it is directed to think within that concept. Self-aware consciousness is manifested thought, aware of itself within its manifested surroundings. It is creation checking itself out for the purpose of knowing not only itself, but investigating its abilities to manipulate its potential to experience and know itself to a greater extent. Each of you are creational thought engaged in this marvelous experiment. You are intelligent thought surrounded by the potential of intelligent thought. The only way you can be controlled is to allow yourself to believe you are something you are not. You must be convinced to believe you are something you are not. You must be convinced that you are powerless and subject to the will of others, thus a victim. The intelligent thought that surrounds you is subject to your intentional will to direct it. If you fail to give it direction, it merely supports whatever direction someone else gives it regarding you. Thus, through induced ignorance, humanity has consent to being manipulated. The most effective method for literally stealing your power has been through the diversion of the use of that power by convincing you to direct it outside yourselves to an unknown and little understood source called God. All power is vested in this vague, unknowable entity that may or may not redirect the energy that is given to it back again to the worshipping requester. This is further diluted if the energy must first be directed through a priest-like entity, who then directs it to the god and request it to be returned to you. The point being, it is your power to direct as you see fit. You are the singular focus of creation experiencing as you. The Bible contains a quoted question that reads something like, "Know you not that you are gods? Indeed, you know it now." Learning to direct this power in harmony with the laws that underlay or support the wholeness of the flow of creation is the lesson to be accomplished. This cannot be effectively achieved unless the concept is known and accepted so that it may be practiced through experience into wisdom. Humanity on this planet is experiencing what results when the power of this energy is purposefully misused to restrict the evolvement of others for distorted experimentation. These entities are learning only how and to what extent others can be limited and manipulated into sacrifice or suffering. Observing is not experiencing into wisdom. Humanity is learning that sacrifice and suffering only brings more of the same. It's time to awaken and realize that continuing on the same path will only continue the pattern. In order to change this experience, the current pattern must be acknowledged and a new pattern conceived to replace it. It may be difficult to accept that what has been taught for generation upon generation has been deliberately corrupted and given to you as truth in order to deceive and manipulate the entire population of a planet. It is more difficult to conceptualize a group focus that is so distorted as to spend eons of sequential time in the game of doing this dastardly deed. It is only necessary to accept it as what it is and resolve to withdraw your permission to be one of their plastic play pieces that bends and twists to fit their desires. It is the time now to take back your right to self-determination of your own present and future. This process leaves you not with less, but with more. You know in truth who and what you are. You now have a process in which to acquaint yourself with your inherent right and power to determine your own path. Leave the future of those who would enslave to the law of attraction. The key to their future is your withdrawal of approval and cooperation. In the moment in which their intense control focus is broken, the energy shifts for them also. Knowing this is enough. Do not spend time even considering their future. Be only concerned with creating your own. It is a task enough to occupy each and all of you for some time to come. Now is an excellent time to begin. Does a new future require that every aspect of your current experience be left behind? Not necessarily, but each must be considered carefully so that it fits in the wholeness that serves the environment of all. It is best to begin with the statement of purpose, then a simple framework that can be painted in with what is appropriate. Remembering what is appropriate for one is not what may be appropriate for all. The application of the universal laws allows for diversity in harmony. A worthwhile goal to remember. If each is responsible for their individual intentions and actions, all will come together in amazing coordinated cooperation. With the true realization of time, there is only now. The past is over and the future is yet to manifest as the nows pass into the past. The dream of the new paradigm begins now and continues now. Both the logical and the emotional aspects resonate, and the shift in consciousness is happening. Even those few that do turn away will not be able to return to their previous perspective of the current situation as it progresses towards the planned dark and dramatic shift. Those who do not choose to actively participate can yet share by simply holding the idea of the possibility of the time of the reign of the Rainbow Man arriving now. Legend has it that the first people on the planet climbed up out of the earth through a trapdoor. The Rainbow Man archetype is right now loosening the latch of the trapdoor that will allow this entry into the next level of manifested experience. It is time for this to happen.